Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
New this morning, we have a weather alert day for Friday and Saturday. Saturday's just posted. We'll talk about when we'll see the strongest thunderstorms.
Also breaking news overnight, a massive police search spans several neighborhoods for the man accused of shooting at an officer after a high-speed chase. WRAL's Michael Grace is at police headquarters with where this search stands.
We're live at RDU this morning where hundreds of people are getting ready for their early morning flights. Just ahead, the number of delays and cancellations and tips to avoid the hassle.
It is such a hassle that it makes you almost want to just stay at home and stick with us. We'll get you through this morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. Thanks for making us part of your Thursday here. If you are staying at home, I hope you have AC. The temperatures are going to be on the rise.
The heat.
Yeah, and if you do venture out, be careful because we have that air quality alert. Elizabeth Gardner here with that from the WRAL Severe Weather Center.
Our conditions this morning are orange. It's interesting because yesterday we were under code orange alert, but we never quite got there. But all of a sudden last night, all of that smoke from the Canadian wildfires has arrived here. So our conditions are now orange. Now our forecast from the Department of Air Quality, that's the group who does these forecasts, has us at yellow for today, but just barely. 101 puts us at orange. So we're going to be right at it or close to it even through the afternoon, even if our numbers start to drop a little bit. This is the map that shows us the current air quality conditions. So code orange right now from say just north and east of Durham and Raleigh back down towards Sanford, back over into the Triad. They've got an area of code yellow, but of code red. But we have a lot of code yellow here down in Fayetteville, Goldsboro, Wilson, up toward Rocky Mount, and areas down to our south and east. It's code yellow right now. Some of the smoke will continue to sink southward, but hopefully will dissipate as we get through the afternoon. So just remember, if you're about to head out the door, it's not necessarily unhealthy for healthy adults, but the sensitive groups, which is going to be young children, the elderly, people with asthma or respiratory issues. We have a level 1 risk for severe storms on Friday. A line of thunderstorms will come through. We'll walk through that. And then again on Saturday as well. For tomorrow, it's likely to be fairly late in the day. Could be a few isolated storms during the evening commute, but it's more likely to be overnight. And we'll walk through Saturday's risks as well coming up. 67 right now. You'll notice that smoky haze this morning. Our dew point is feeling pretty comfortable at 64. Our temperatures are in the mid to upper 60s for the most part right now. It will be a hot day today with a high of 92, but similar to yesterday, our humidity stays on the low side and today stays dry. We have the thunderstorms in our forecast for Friday and Saturday, but Sunday and Monday we have dangerous heat in the forecast. We'll also look at that coming up. Brian?
It is 6:02 right now, and this morning we've been watching some construction-related delays on 40 westbound in the western part of Johnston County as you head between the 210 interchange up toward Cleveland Road and 42. Latest update from the sensors indicate that this is really starting to clear up nicely. Only about a 1-minute delay showing up on those westbound lanes of I-40. Something to keep in mind this morning. Also, we are tracking a hit-and-run investigation over on the east side of Raleigh at the 87 440 interchange. Just looked at the sensors very closely and didn't see any delays there, but look out for police activity on the side of the road.
Will do, Brian. Thanks for that. Let's get that breaking news right now as Raleigh police are looking for a person who they say led troopers on a high-speed chase and then shot at an officer. Here's a map that shows you a pretty big area right here where police spent hours searching overnight. It stretches from Capitol Boulevard and Calvary Drive to New Hope and Lewisburg roads. Michael Grace has been reporting for the WRAL Breaking News Tracker all night. Michael, this has to be a huge concern for police. Somebody willing to shoot at them still on the loose.
Yeah, that's right, Jeff. And that man, I should say, shot at that officer while the officer was chasing them. Now, Highway Patrol actually started this whole chase on US 1. They lost the man somewhere near Lewisburg Road. And that's where police set up their base headquarters. You can see right here in the video over at the New Hope Church parking lot. Now, that man ditched his car on Tapers Drive, and that's when he started running, fired that shot somewhere on Courtney Lane. And although the Raleigh Police Department has broken down that physical scene over there at the New Hope Church parking lot, the Raleigh Watch Commander says this is still an ongoing investigation as they have no one in custody at this time. So we're hoping to stay in contact with the Watch Commander throughout the morning, hopefully getting any updates on where that man is at this point. Live in Raleigh, Michael Grace, WRAL News.
It's the start of the busy holiday travel weekend. As the 4th of July approaches, more flight frustrations are piling up. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us now live from RDU. Kelsey, we've been at the airport all week tracking the ongoing cancellations and delays. Does there seem to be any relief in sight for passengers?
Renee, I don't think that there's any sign of relief at all. Let's take a look at what it looks like right now at the TSA line. It's gotten pretty chaotic over the past hour. More than 850 flights across the country have already been delayed or canceled this morning. We're starting off the morning with 3 cancellations and 3 delays here at RDU. This travel nightmare is the result of a lot of factors: weather, staffing shortages at both airlines and air traffic control centers. On top of that, we're seeing a record-breaking number of travelers. The Federal Aviation Administration is expecting that today will be the busiest travel day ahead of the 4th. They're estimating more than 52,000 flights. Here's travel expert David Fleming's number 1 tip if you're headed to the airport this week.
The key is to get ahead of it. So when you're noticing a problem, you're noticing a delay, look online and see what other flights there might be later on that you might be able to switch to.
I just spoke with a woman a few minutes ago who said she was so frustrated she couldn't even get on camera. Her flight was supposed to leave at 5 p.m. yesterday to head off to New Orleans, and she's still here, stuck in the airport, and she won't be able to get a flight until tomorrow. She's had 3 cancellations, so that's what people are facing. So if you're traveling this holiday weekend, be sure to pack your patience. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live at RDU.
Also happening today, we'll get an update on the efforts to detect lead levels in 5 Durham parks. We told you last week a Duke researcher found high levels of lead in the soil at 3 parks and recommended testing 2 others. The city hired a contractor to carry out that testing at the parks: Walltown Park, East End, East Durham Park, Lyon Park, Northgate Park. City leaders will hold a public information meeting today at 7 p.m. at City Hall to give an update on the soil testing. We expect to hear from the contractors on what they've learned so far and when the testing will be complete.
An effort to give charter schools more access to money set aside for public schools also could take a big step forward today. The North Carolina Senate is expected to vote on the bill. It would allow charter schools to dip into more district funding. Supporters of the bill say it would level the playing field for all students. Those against it say it would hurt traditional public schools because it would allow charter schools to double dip into money they already share.
The search is growing this morning for the person who fired shots into a car with a mother and her 2 children inside. You see broken glass at this scene right here, left scattered across the road after her window was shot out. Thankfully, no one was seriously hurt. This happened last night at the intersection of East Davie and Person Streets near Moore Square in Raleigh. The entire block was shut down as police investigated. The woman was driving on Person Street when she heard that glass shatter. WRAL Breaking News Tracker spoke with a man who also heard those shots.
Well, at first it sounded like fireworks. I immediately said, someone's been shot. But, a lot of times it could be mistaken for fireworks. And then we heard the police cars. I came right over to see, what was going on.
And we are still working to figure out if this was a targeted shooting or a random act.
A ban on hormone treatments, puberty blockers, and surgery for transgender people under 18 is one step away from becoming law, but it will likely end up in court. The State House approved the ban along party lines, sending it to Governor Cooper's desk. It would stop all doctors from providing gender-affirming care to children, even with a parent's consent. Doctors who break the law could lose their licenses or face civil lawsuits. Opponents say it could lead to more suicides among transgender children. Supporters say gender-affirming care can wait until a child is old enough. Governor Cooper is expected to veto the bill, but it could be overridden.
We're following breaking news here in the WRAL Live Center, and it's all linked to this ongoing unrest all across France in the last couple of days. A French prosecutor says judges have opened an investigation for voluntary homicide after police shot and killed a 17-year-old boy of West African descent. It happened during a traffic stop Tuesday. Rioting erupted since the incident, mainly in ethnically diverse suburbs all across France. And as we reported in the last hour here, French President Emmanuel Macron is meeting with senior ministers in his government to address this ongoing unrest. So far, police have made about 150 arrests all across France because of this rioting. We'll monitor that meeting and keep you updated here in the WRAL Live Center.
We're learning more this morning about new safety measures coming to Wake County Public Schools. The district says its visitor policy will now be the same across all schools. Here's how it'll work. You'll use an iPad to enter some personal information, and that'll prompt a quick background check. The system scans databases for things like recent custody orders, protection orders, and sex offender registries. This change comes as many districts across the state make changes to improve security.
The person at the front desk that may be working that front desk may not know, and so that a person is not allowed to be on there. But when they sign in, this thing will alert us to the fact that that person's not supposed to be on campus. I've known for a long time.
And the new visitor check-in system goes live next week. That's when year-round schools start. The system will be used district-wide at the start of the new school year. Road racing could soon come with a hefty fine in North Carolina. Coming up, the new effort to curb dangerous activity on the streets. Plus,
Pitch perfect. Why this overnight performance by Domingo Germán will be one for the history books.
We've got a busy week in weather. We have a weather alert day for Friday and Saturday. We could see that again Sunday and Monday as we see dangerous heat indexes. I'll go over all of it coming up.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
It is 6:13. It's a hazy start out there this morning, and parts of the area around the triangle we're actually experiencing code orange air quality right now. It should back off a little bit later on this afternoon. 68 in Wilson, 67 in Durham, at 68 in Fayetteville. Our humidity is on the lower side. Again today, like yesterday, don't get me wrong, it's going to be a hot one, but we won't see a heat index above the actual temperature until we get into the weekend. 66 in Southern Pine, 61 in Lewisburg, 66 Irwin, 66 in South Hill. We're going to go over that air quality issue coming up. But if your kids are headed out to summer camp, obviously going to be a great day to be in the pool. It'll be dry. Not looking at thunderstorms this afternoon. Mid 80s at lunchtime. We'll see highs in the low 90s this afternoon. We have more storms in our forecast and a couple of weather alert days to tell you about.
It is 6:14 right now as we check traffic. This is the Belt Line and 440 eastbound traffic heading away from us toward the Pool Road interchange. We had a report of a hit-and-run investigation out here at the 87 interchange, but I'm not seeing any evidence of that on the cameras here, and the sensors are also looking clear through that section of Raleigh. Taking a look at those major approaches into Durham right now, not seeing any problems as you head in from northern Wake County on westbound 98. It's a smooth ride from 50 out to the 885 interchange. Also looking good right now as you come in from Hillsborough on 85 northbound. Jeff.
Brian, thanks. The punishment for street racing and other so-called street takeovers could become a lot stronger in North Carolina. The State House passed a bill yesterday that would hit racers with the most serious misdemeanor in the state and a mandatory $1,000 fine. WRAL spoke with a man who used to live in Durham but says he moved to Tennessee to get away from those street takeovers. He said the bill is a step in the right direction.
The problem is enforcing it. As we talked about, it's a matter of having the police budget, the manpower, all of that to actually enforce this.
Critics say the bill is too broad, and it is not clear if it would apply to dirt bikes and ATVs. It now heads to the state Senate.
A runway is back open this morning at Charlotte Douglas International Airport after this dramatic emergency landing. Passengers are now sharing their experience after their plane touched down without working nose gear. This video shows passengers bracing on the plane Wednesday on the Delta flight from Atlanta to Charlotte. They described bumping and scraping of metal as the plane landed. Here is that video of someone on board the plane. Those say the plane had been circling the airport for a while.
We have a nose wheel unsafe indication. We're going to have to go ahead and declare an emergency.
We didn't know why we were just circling the airport, and then the pilot came on and let us know that the wheels up under the nose weren't coming down.
The pilot was able to guide the plane to a safe landing. More than 100 people were on board. No one was hurt. The FAA and federal investigators are looking into this situation.
Grounded to third. Donaldson has it. There it is. Perfection for Domingo Germán.
Oh, that's so awesome. While you were sleeping, huge celebration for the New York Yankees and pitcher Domingo Germán. Pulled off one of baseball's rarest feats. Look at, he wears number 0. That's how many batters got on base that he faced. 27, the minimum. Oakland A's didn't let a single one on. The Yankees won 11-0. He's just the 24th perfect game in Major League history, the first since 2012. So more than 10 years since the last one. This is a rare feat. First Dominican-born player to throw a perfect game. That is fantastic stuff for the boys of summer. And here we are, right in the middle of it here. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with the air quality as we head towards a busy holiday weekend.
Interestingly, yesterday we were expecting the air quality to decrease and move to code orange during the day. And we saw yellow for the bulk of the day. Well, that wind continues to come out of the north, so that Canadian wildfire smoke has been drifting ever farther south. And now we're at code orange. Now, the forecast for today is 100, which puts us at yellow. 101, though, is orange. And so we're going to be very close to that this afternoon. These forecasts are done by the Department of Air Quality. And, of course, that's where we get all this information from. Look at how much code red there is across the country, even some code purple. Looking at red just back to our west across parts of Winston-Salem, Greensboro, the Triad area, and northward up toward Danville. And this is the patch in our viewing area. So it does include most of the triangle, Raleigh and Durham, Chapel Hill, Sanford, and then northward. But plenty of folks just seeing yellow this morning from Southern Pines to Fayetteville to Goldsboro up through Wilson, Rocky Mount, and Roanoke Rapids. You're all sitting at yellow. So this just drifted down overnight last night. So hopefully it will start to dissipate, drift back to the north as we get through the day today. But just an FYI, we are sitting at code orange in the triangle. Watching that sunrise there in Goldsboro, it definitely looks hazy. Code orange means that it's not unhealthy for healthy adults to be out and about, but anybody with respiratory issues, the elderly, young children, just want to limit time outside until we start to see it dropping back to yellow. Look at Apex and Chapel Hill. Chapel Hill, courtesy of Top of the Hill Restaurant, looks a little hazy there in Durham. We have several things that we're watching very closely right now. We have tomorrow a level 1 risk for severe storms across most of the viewing area. So it is a WRAL weather alert day. And then this morning we also went under a WRAL weather alert day for Saturday. Again, almost the same outline of level 1 risk for severe storms again on Saturday. We take a look at the big picture right now. We do have that wind coming out of the northwest right across that area where we have poor air quality. So that's pushing some of that smoke into our area today. We jump ahead to Friday. Today's going to stay nice and dry, but Friday evening there may be a few isolated showers between, say, 3 and 5. And then we're going to see a line of strong thunderstorms, say, between 9 and midnight or so, coming in especially in our western and southwestern counties. And then we should see a repeat of that again on Saturday. Looking at a 30% chance of storms Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. So we continue with that chance of thunderstorms. We're also going to see some intense heat over the weekend. Looking at 93 to 95 on Tuesday, and a 20 to 30% chance of scattered thunderstorms. So that's our look at the holiday. Also watching the tropics, so we have the remnants of Cindy here. Still just a 20% chance of development. We do have moderate rip current danger. If you're headed to the beach over the weekend, keep your eye on that rip current danger with that system sitting offshore. It's not likely to develop, but we'll keep our eye on it. Weather alert day for tomorrow and Saturday for severe storms. It may be that we post that for Sunday and Monday too. We're going to have some dangerous heat coming up at about 6:45. I'll show you how high the heat index will be. Brian?
It is 6:21 on the dot right now. We've been watching these delays on 40 westbound from this overnight construction. This is between 210 there in the McGee's Crossroads area, heading up toward the Cleveland community out at 42. Still seeing a little bit of a backup there. And it looks like that likely is going to last into at least part of the morning commute. So want to keep that in mind. Taking a look around the rest of the triangle, our major routes holding up pretty well. As I mentioned, we have that hit and run investigation reportedly out at 87 at 440, but we're not seeing any evidence of any slowdowns in that area. We'll take you out live to Durham to 85 at Red Mill Road, where things are looking good in both directions. On that southbound trip out of Butner, just a 1-minute delay as you head into Durham.
Brian, thanks. The Carolina Hurricanes are building for their future in the NHL draft. A look at their big first-round pick. And while it may be a while, and why it may be a while before we see him at PNC Arena. Plus.
No, I wasn't. I don't know.
Were you?
No.
An emphatic President Biden responding to questions over an encounter with his son Hunter. The new fallout over the younger Biden's plea deal.
This What's Trending report, sponsored by Rug and Home.
Fans of the Material Girl are hoping for the best after a health scare.
Brian Schrader here now with What's Trending. Brian.
Yeah, some good news this morning. Madonna's longtime friend Rosie O'Donnell shared an Instagram post after midnight saying that the singer is feeling good. Of course, the news broke late yesterday that Madonna was in the ICU for a serious bacterial infection. Her world tour that was supposed to start next month now is on hold.
Yeah, her manager says not just in the ICU, but several days in the ICU. 64 years old, she was found unresponsive. So it's kind of a scary deal here. We'll have to wait and see if she can resume that world tour.
Yeah, get some rest, Madonna.
Yeah.
That's right. John Legend and Chrissy Teigen are having another baby. The couple made a surprise announcement welcoming their son, Ren, who was born through a surrogate. Ren joins the family just 5 months after the couple's daughter, Esty, was born.
So you may remember Christy and John shared their pregnancy loss in 2020. Their son, Jack, they decided they wanted to go the surrogate route, went through IVF, and then Chrissy said she wanted to carry another child, so that was Esty. And then the other embryo went to the surrogate, and now they have a son. So she says she's always wanted to have 4 children, and now her family feels complete.
Yeah, the house is full of fun, love, and kids. It's all good.
Beautiful ending.
Brian, thanks. Simone Biles may be ready to return to competition. The gymnast's name is on the entry list for the U.S. Classic in August. If she competes, it'll be her first event since the Tokyo Olympics. You may remember she pulled out from the team competition because of mental blocks. Coming up at 7 on Today NBC Sports, Mike Tirico will join for a live interview about Biles' possible return, looking ahead to maybe the 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris.
More than 850 flights have been canceled or delayed across the country already this morning. We'll have an update on what's happening here at RDU and tips to avoid the hassle.
And we have a WRAL weather alert day for tomorrow and Saturday for the risk of severe storms. I'll show you the timeline coming up.
We're also following breaking news this morning. Michael Grace joins us from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker with what he's learning about a massive police search that made for a long night for people who live off Capitol Boulevard and Lewisburg Road in Raleigh.